60% of the syringe isolates from Oregon commercial fields were copper tolerant. So that was alarming.
We look at copper in our system, right? It's a great tool. Grandpa used it. Great grandpa used it. They used it in the mainland before they came to this country. It's been around a long time. I've often, posed the question to growers, like, how well is it continuing to work for you? And I get a lot of shoulder shrugs, like, I don't know if this stuff really works. So there's also other concerns. We've been using copper on some of the same fields for a long time, especially in perennial crops. So is there copper loading that's occurring? Is it getting into our waterways? Are there going to be potential limits or restrictions like the EU has seen? California has seen some restrictions on certain copper products and certain applications. And then again, I'm going to pose the question, what's the most expensive application you make on your farm? I mean, the one that doesn't work.
Pseudomonas syringae, and it's actually a complex of bacteria. The major symptoms are bud death and necrosis extending into the stems, as you see in the upper photo. Distal symptoms include like a flower blight, and then also leaf spots on leaves. And the disease is most damaging on young plants and in years with numerous rain and freeze events in the fields. We found that 81% of the isolates from Washington fields, those 135, were copper tolerant. And over half, 60% of the syringe isolates from Oregon commercial fields were copper tolerant. So that was alarming. We have copper resistance, a lot of copper resistance. And in that young field, we saw that sanitation and removal of diseased tissues effectively reduced pathogen populations. Plants were grown just out in the open. We had some that were covered. And then we also had plants that were covered, except when a frost was predicted. These plants get hammered with syringae. If they're always open, we had a high incidence of disease. If they're always covered, they look pretty darn good. If they were opened up just on cold nights, covered but then opened on cold nights, again, they look great. And then covered on cold nights, they were pretty much shot. If you can remove disease tissues from fields, that can help reduce the disease pressure in the field. The majority of the isolates are resistant to copper. I know that growers have told me that they just like to spray copper because it's not that expensive.
So here we are looking at the untreated control, and you see the disease severity climbs. And you can see that all of the treatments did have some efficacy, but the best treatment was Jet Egg at a 1% solution plus Stargus. And that was treated twice. And this is just some pictures. I mean, it's worth 1,000 words. Just let that soak in. Untreated control. I mean, those are the lesions we're looking at controlling in the field. Stargus and its mode of action. It's that secret bacillus that we've been hiding in the back of the shelf all year. So it has a lot of those active peptide, lipopeptides in it. So it has that ISR response where it's inducing that plant to defend itself. And then it also has that live bacillus that's gonna grow and outcompete. And then Jet Egg. I mean, Jet Egg, it is a strong oxidizer. It works through killing the spores on the surface. When we come into this conversation, we had like copper followed by blue copper, followed by red copper, followed by liquid copper. And now I'm giving you guys 3 new tools. So Bacterial Blight program, here's the takeaways. We want to use Stargus at the 2-quart rate plus Jet Egg at 1%. For your heavy pressure, for your lighter pressures, you can get away with that 1-quart rate. It just kind of depends on your program. At that 25 and 75% leaf drop. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to use Regalia at 1 quart plus copper. So guys, we talk an IPM program, we talk about what can we tank mix or rotate to reduce our reliance on this one piece of chemistry. And so the tank mix option is Regalia plus copper, and the rotation option is Jet Egg plus Stargus. And just rotate those through your copper programs. And Xanthomonas, Pseudomonas, whatever copper issues or whatever positioning you have for copper, even if it's in a different crop, these can be good alternatives because they're very generalist